One of the big advantages of having a pro account when you use Twee is that you can actually make the activities interactive. In other words, you can transfer activities from Twee into Google Forms and then obviously share the Google Forms so the students can do it online, and of course they get feedback immediately on the exercises. So it really shifts the way that you can use the activities that you create in Twee. I'm lucky enough to have a pro account. I've been testing out the Google Forms and I have to say I'm very impressed. There's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind and a few things around formatting to remember, but it is actually very impressive. In this video, I'm going to start by showing you a few examples so you can see how things transfer from Twee to Google Forms, and then I'm going to take you through the whole process. Now, if you haven't gotten a pro account and you want one, use the discount code that I'm putting on the screen now. It will give you 20% off. Just to be absolutely clear, I will get a small percentage of that as well. So you will be helping to support my channel. Really hope you like the video, and if you do, please like it, please share it, please comment on it, please join me on my YouTube channel. Please do at least one of those things as my ranking on YouTube is dropping and I really need some help. Let's get started. So if you're not familiar with what Twee can do, I'll put a video on the screen now that you can watch that takes you through all the latest features in Twee and shows you some of the recent updates. But what I'm going to do is concentrate on showing you how, when you make activities in Twee, they transform into activities on Google Forms. And I want to start by showing you a few examples so that you can see where I've made a Twee and how that looks on Google Forms, just so that you understand that not everything is exactly the same. Things don't transfer exactly the way that you would imagine. Look at this Twee that I've just created here. I've got a text, and then after the text, I've created a gap fill activity. Really, really easy to do. Now, what about if we transform that by clicking on export and we exported it to Google Forms? Now, in a minute, I'm going to go through the whole process, but for now, I just want to show you the result so you can see what it would look like. Here is the resulting Google form. We've got the text, and then we should have a gap fill activity, but actually we haven't got quite the same activity. What it's done is it's turned it into a multiple choice where it's grabbed the sentence where the gap is, and then it's taken some of the options from the other correct answers and used them so that we've got to try to work out what is the correct answer. So it hasn't done exactly the same thing that was in the original Twee exercise. And this is what I want you to understand, because things don't transfer necessarily directly from Twee to Google Forms. Sometimes things have to be adapted. Now, interestingly though, if we did go to actually do that activity, so what you can see is that the activity does work. It is interactive. The students can make choices, but what it actually does, it takes a section of the text and shows you the gap fill, and then obviously once you finish you can submit your answers. So it does produce an interactive activity, but not exactly the same as the original. Let's take another example on Twee where we've got Twee to write a text for us, and then after the text we've done some basically multiple choice questions, and of course they've got correct answers, and then I've done some true or false questions, and again they've got correct answers. Now, how would that transfer into Google Forms? Will all of the functionality still be there? So if you see this activity, you've got the text, and then you'll notice that you can choose the correct answer. Okay, so you can actually answer directly just like in the original. So what I'm trying to make is that some things transfer directly, some things are adapted, but the important point here, and if we go right through this exercise, because remember there was multiple choice exercises, and then on the next page there was true or false, and notice that it always adds the text again, which is really clever because you don't want to keep jumping back to read the text. So every page where there's an exercise, it brings the text up on the screen again, which is really good, and you can submit and get your feedback and find out how many answers you got wrong or right. So really, really good. I'm going to take you through a complete example. I'm going to build a series of activities in Twee, and then I'm going to transfer them over to Google Forms. But what I'll do is I'll do different activities so that we can get a real idea how different types of activities transfer from one system to the other. And you'll be pretty impressed with the results. And of course, it means that all the activities can then become interactive. You can share the link and the students can do them online for homework, etc. So it really changes the dynamics of the way that you can work with Twee. Now, I'm going to start by clicking on the tools, and I'm actually going to start by using Twee to produce a list of vocabulary. And there's a particular reason why I'm going to do that, because it will allow me to do lots of different types of activities. So I'm going to start here, essential topic or essential vocabulary on a topic. I'm going to write in a topic, and I'm going to call this the future of education. Okay, this is going to be my starting point, and then I'll just choose any, and I'm going to click on do the magic. So the first thing that happens is that you get this big long list of vocabulary. Notice that you can edit the title, you can edit the description. And if you do edit that, that will actually all come out in the Google form. So what I'm going to do first of all with these words is I'm going to come down here below, and you can see you've got lots and lots of options. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do though is I'm going to create a text with target vocabulary. So what that will do is it will take that target vocabulary and it will generate a text for me, and I'll make that text a little bit longer, so we'll say 100 to 150 words or 250 words. We'll make it a argumentative, let's make it a descriptive article, and I'm going to click on do the magic. Now that we got that text, we're going to build a few interactive activities around that. Let's choose a couple of the obvious ones. So the first obvious one would probably be to do something like, so we're creating using the result, so the text is the result, and we're going to do ABC questions. Okay, and we're going to see how that works. So we're going to click on do the magic, and it's going to generate ABC questions, and it'll be really interesting to see how Google Form deals with those ABC questions. So we've got our list of words. We've added then to that a nice text. We've then done some true or false some ABCD questions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scroll back, and just underneath again where the text is, I'm going to add another activity, and you can do this. You don't have to always be adding the questions below. And I'm going to do a word definition matching, and we'll see how well the system generates that. So I'm going to just click here now. I've got the words, notice, and I'm going to click on do the magic. And now I'm going to get a word definition activity. Okay. Now just to notice something there, that what it does is it does actually add that exercise to the end. But just remember that you can actually go back up and choose another option, and then that will be added. Okay, so a lot of people kind of get confused and think you're always limited to whatever is below the current option that you've chosen. So for example here you've got quite a limited number of offers, but you can always scroll back up and say, well no, I want to add to or build on, say for example I want to build on this text by adding in another activity. We'll do one more. And again, I'm going to try and do something a little bit different. So what we're trying to do here is see how Google Forms is going to adapt to all these activities. This would be a really interesting one to try. Let's try this. Word definitions. I'm going to click on that. And what that's going to do is going to create a matching activity of where, again, remember, it always works with that key vocabulary that we extracted at the beginning, which is the reason that I did that. And then I'm going to click on do magic, and we're going to have a kind of matching activity here. Now all of this would be brilliant, and we could of course, you know, export it as a PDF file and do it in class with the students as a kind of traditional exercise, or give it to them for homework to do. Absolutely fine. But what about if we were to transfer all of this into a Google form? Now I've already connected my Gmail account to my Twee account, so this is going to be quite easy for me. The first time you do need to obviously connect your Gmail to your Twee, and then I'm going to export, and that is now going to export all of those exercises straight into my Google Forms, and I'm now going to look at it and show you the result. Just a super quick break from the video. If you like what you're seeing and you want more free videos, then please come over to teachertrainingvideos.com. Make use of the drop down menus at the top of the screen. There's loads of content that you can access. If you really want to follow my work, then sign up to the newsletter. You get updated with all the latest videos and the free webinars that we often run. And as part of that, you'll also get a free 14-part course in using technology in language teaching. There are no tricks. Literally all of the technologies that I highlight are free or have a free option. If you want to know more about the courses that I run, the consultancy that I do, then please go to the end of the video because I provide more details to you. But one final thing, many people ask me how I make my videos. Well, I use Camtasia. And if you want to try out Camtasia, I'll put a link in the description below. You can download and use it for free. There's also a free quite detailed course that you can access, and I'll put that in the description below. And there are also 2 links where you can buy Camtasia from me, and one of them will give you a very good discount if you're working in education. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the video. So we'll click on open in Google Forms, and now we'll get a really good idea. Now I just want to go through a couple of things just to keep you to remember you're transferring from your Twee to Google Forms, and some things will end up kind of being repeated because they're both features of Google Forms and Twee. So for example, notice here you end up with kind of 2 descriptions. This is a description from Twee, and this is the kind of standard place where you write the description in Google Forms. Now what I would suggest you probably do, unless you've already written a description into Twee, is simply just delete that. Okay, then you can write your description if you want to write some details about what the students need to do. And of course you can kind of come in and change the title. So you might say list of vocabulary on topic of education. Yeah, and then you might give some instructions like read and do the following exercises. Okay, so you're going to need to do a little bit of formatting and changing to make this look really professional and then ready for your students to actually do the activities. Now the way that it transfers is it does it in sections, and this is really nice because it will basically mean that there will be different pages and each page will have a different exercise. So if we was to preview this, it will look really professional. I'm just going to quickly scroll through and just point out a couple of other things. So here we've got the text, so we've got the words, then we made the text, and that will be on a separate page. And then from page 3 the exercises will start. Again, you might want to change the description and the information here, but notice that on every page you will have the text and then the questions. And that's really good because you don't want to keep jumping back a page to read the text and then answer the question. So it's really good that the question and the text are on the same page. And you'll notice this activity seems to work fine. We just click and choose. So that ABCD is transferred really well. And if we come down below this one here, okay, can you match these? Now this is interesting. How's this going to come out? Because we've got this list of words and then we've got this kind of list here, okay, of so we need to match these together. So it'd be really interesting to see how this particular exercise is going to look if we preview it. So let's quickly preview and see how this activity has come out, the one on section 4, because it's kind of different. Okay, with the other one's pretty obvious, we've already seen that anyway, but this activity is going to be very interesting to look at in the preview mode. Notice how the matching activity now works. Okay, you get the definition or to focus on what is being said or done without being distracted. And if you click here, this is what the student would do. They would have to choose the right option, which would be to pay attention. And then they come down to the next one and the same thing, always choosing the word that they think it might be. And so you can notice that really that is kind of slightly changing that particular activity, okay? But it does produce the interactivity, it does save the teacher a massive amount of time, and it does fundamentally mean that you can use Twee in a completely different way. And of course at the end you submit and you're going to get feedback on everything that you've done. One tip that I'd really picked up from working through this and doing quite a few different activities and seeing how they work is that sometimes when you make an activity in Twee, it produces lots of questions. So you might have 15, 20 matching activities. It may be a good idea at certain time, when you're doing this, to think about how that's going to transfer to Google Forms and maybe do less, maybe delete some of the options and make the activity slightly simpler. Otherwise you're going to end up with these really big menu systems like this. I'm going to put on the screen now another video that you might really like, where I focus on two of my favorite technologies, particularly if you're studying on your own. So these are great technologies that you could show to students to help them with their autonomous learning, but they're also super useful for the teacher. Okay, really hope you liked that video, and if you did, please come over to teachertrainingvideos.com. Make use of all the drop-down menus at the top, loads of content, and there's also some content on the front page that you can access. If you want to keep up with my work, sign up to the newsletter. You get updated with all the latest videos and the free webinars that we organise. And of course, part of that as well is the 14-part video course, where I basically highlight the most popular technologies on the website. And nearly all of the technologies that I highlight are free or have a free option. I send you a video every 3 or 4 days, and that can be really useful if you kind of want to boost your general knowledge of using technology in language teaching and language learning. If you'd like to do live training with me, then join me on Patreon. If you join me on Patreon, you get access every month to 3 additional videos, and these videos cover technologies that I often don't cover on YouTube. There's no advertisements, and I go into more detail around the ideas. So these are very much practical videos for giving teachers ideas of how they can use technology, teaching online or teaching in the classroom. Apart from that, of course, you get the live training with me. We meet once a month online. We look at normally just one technology, but sometimes 2. And we do lots of activities with those technologies so that we get really familiar with them. Now, there's about 80 people on Patreon, but most people just accept the recording and don't join me live. But there's normally a group of about 10 or 12 people. And that's really interesting if you want practical ideas and you really want to build up your confidence with using the technologies. The other thing, if you join me on Patreon, you will get at this moment access to all the backdated content. So if you pay your $6 a month, not only will you get access to the new videos, but in fact you'll get access to all the many videos that are already up on Patreon. So you might like to think about joining me on Patreon and joining me for live training. A lot of people contact me about Camtasia. I am a recommended TechSmith Camtasia trainer. You'll find me on their website. And if you're looking for training in Camtasia, either on a one-to-one basis or just small groups, perhaps you're looking to learn how to make training videos or to build up your YouTube video and use Camtasia to create your YouTube videos like I do, then please contact me and we can discuss the training. Don't forget, as I did mention, there is a link below where you can click and access Camtasia for free and give it a test. There's also a useful 6-part course that you can make use of, and in fact that was sponsored by TechSmith Camtasia. And there are a couple of links where you can buy Camtasia from me, and there is a discount in the educational version. And finally, on the front page, there is information about the 2 courses that I run. One is a course in using technology in language teaching and language learning. I do that course in collaboration with Niall. It's proved to be very popular, and you can click and get information. It takes you straight through to the Niall website where you can find out the prices, the dates of the next course, etc. The other course is my very popular course on YouTube. I've managed to build up my YouTube channel to 80,000 subscribers and plus, and I've done that without doing any advertising, basically spending hours and hours on YouTube learning all of the little tricks by watching videos where people reveal what you need to do. Building up a YouTube channel is actually much easier than you think. There are several things that you need to do, but it can be done if you've got a nice idea, and you can actually make money from YouTube right from the start. Now, if you want to learn more about YouTube, again, you can contact me on the website and I can do one-on-one consultancy, or you can put your name down, and the next time that I'm running that YouTube course, I will contact you. It's very popular. We've probably run it 20 or 25 times now, and it's a very popular course where I really take you through everything that you need to know to build up and succeed. Of course, you need to do the work, but I do make it all clear. And the key thing about that course is it's just going to save you hours. I spent hours and hours watching videos and learning all about YouTube. I'm going to summarize basically everything that you need to know in 2 hours. If you're interested, sign up, and the next time I'm running that course, I will let you know. Thanks for listening to all this information at the end, and I'm going to leave a few more videos on the screen now that you might find useful.